What is going on, everyone? Who wants to wagon train our way out to Utah? I know I do. Utah's known for Mormons, a Salt Lake, skiing, and jokes about dudes with an extra wife or two. It's really not a thing, but there's a bunch of lame jokes that have been out there floating around the universe for years about polygamy. It doesn't happen, really. It's not supposed to, at least. Let it go. Utah was admitted into the Union on January 4th, 1896, making it the 45th state. It is right here, in case you don't know. It is home to over 3 million people and a handful of really nice cities where 90% of the state resides. Today, we won't be talking about those cities. We'll be talking about the towns of Utah and not the good ones. To be honest, it's sort of hard to find really crappy places to live in Utah. Luckily, I have time to find those crappy places. This list is what I found. So tighten that prairie bonnet and watch my top 10 worst towns in Utah. Number 10, Wendover, Utah. Wendover may not be the best place to send your kids to school. Not only is the graduation rate about 80%, this is a smaller district with few schools and fewer students. So it's likely that your kids will be going to school with the same kids for years. Some even all the way from kindergarten to their senior year of high school. This doesn't let the kids that graduate and eventually go on to college become aware of diversity and things like that. It may be a little bit of a culture shock when they finally leave Wendover. Wendover doesn't have a bunch of crime like most of Utah. Utah is a really safe state. Where their suck comes from is the low-paying jobs. The unemployment rate is actually a little bit lower than the national average, so that's good. But the income per capita in Wendover is 58% lower than the national average, and their poverty rate is 104% higher than the national average. So you have work, but it's really not good work. Good news is they're right on the Nevada border, and the casinos are just steps away, so you could drown all your worries there. Number 9, Paradise, Utah. Living in Paradise is anything but that. Okay, that was a lame joke. It was too easy. Let's try Paradise, more like Parasite. It's still weak. How about Paradise? Sure, compared to daily colonoscopy, then yes, Paradise it is. That one was better. But moving on. A decent job here or in the area can be pretty hard to find. While the unemployment rate is pretty low at 2.7, the income per capita is also really low, just under $22,000 a year, which is over 25% lower than the country's average. This can lead to many people living in poverty, especially with Utah's overall high cost of living. It can get rough. A lot like Wendover without having Nevada right over the border. Paradise is a bit out in the sticks, but not terribly far from Logan. That's the closest big city. It's still kind of out there. I've been here visiting a friend. It's a very boring place to live. Everyone has big yards, the type of yards that need a riding mower or a slow nephew, like my friend has. I guess his nephew can't keep a job, so he mows family members' yards. The guy likes to impress people by wearing one of those dog shock collars for when your dog barks, teach him how to not bark. So he puts it on and then has you bark so he can show you that he can take the electrical shock. It is hysterical. It is the weirdest Thanksgiving dinner I've ever been to, I have to admit. Number 8, Hildale, Utah. Hildale is located on the border of Utah and Arizona. The United Effort Plan, a financial trust, owns most of the property in the town. Hildale is formerly known as the Short Creek Community, which was founded in 1913 by members of the Council of Friends, a breakaway group from the Salt Lake City-based The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Mormon High Command, basically. Hildale is home to about 3,000 residents who often find it hard to get by. About 46% of the population here lives in poverty. Many of those are children. The median household income is only about $40,000 a year, which is basically $15,000 less than the national average. This place is short on paved roads and women that don't dress from chin to toe. There's a lot of that going on here. Hildale it's out in the sticks, really good. I mean, you look at the map and you look at the street view and there's a whole lot of propane tanks and satellite dishes. That's usually an indication they're kind of cut off from the rest of society. Number 7, Green River. Green River is filled with about 1,000 people, and that's about it. The only thing this town really has going for them is actually the Green River and the Green River State Park. Other than that, there's hardly anything here. And by the way, the river is green. It doesn't even look refreshing. It looks like split pea soup. If you can imagine swimming in something that looks like split pea soup, and that sounds refreshing to you, you should consult a doctor. Anyway, they do have the basics like a grocery store, a gas station, a high school, all of that. But anything more, you need need to make an hour-and-a-half drive to either Price, Utah or Grand Junction, Colorado. Area Vibes gives them an F in things to do and an F for schools. Apparently, when you're out in the sticks and no one around, your schools kind of suck, I guess. I didn't compile all the data on it, but that's what they give them. The poverty level in Green River is 112% higher than the national average. That's not good. And by the way, that doesn't mean that everyone is poor there. That's higher than the average. I had to explain this to someone in an email about a week ago because I said that something was 100% above the national average. Doesn't mean that's, everyone. I don't know. It's math. Moving on. Number 6, Ivins, Utah. Ivins is about 10 miles outside of St. George with about 9,000 residents. While this area is a bit outside of town, it's more of a rural area. The cost of living here is pretty high. Actually, the cost of living in Ivins is about 10% higher than the national average, with some of the higher points being housing at 41% higher than average, healthcare, which is 11% higher than average, and of course, taxes in Utah are 125% higher than the national average. Schools, housing, amenities, and cost of living all get bad grades in Ivins, according to areavibes.com. Not terrible, but not good. So why are they on this list? It's like I said, the cost. It's too expensive for what you get. So great, it's tucked away by Red Mountain, and after that, it's just dirt. Red Mountain's nice, great to look at, nice hiking, but really, it's just a dirt area. It's weird. They are a growing community, probably growing a little too fast. In 1970, they had 137 residents. By 1990, they had 1,630 residents. 2010, they had almost 7,000 residents. And in 2018, they had 9,000 residents. Now, they're expecting in the next census to be well over 10,000 residents. So now the locals don't want anyone else moving there. I asked my friend, the one from Paradise, lives in Ivins, him and his, his slow nephew go up there, I don't know. But he said dudes wear leggings at Starbucks here, which isn't cool. That's the first thing out of his mouth about Ivins. He's also the one that said that about the locals, that they don't appreciate anyone else moving there. Number 5, Apple Valley, Utah. Apple Valley is located not too far from the Arizona border. Unless you're a retiree who's a homebody, this isn't the place for you. This place is like a place time forgot. It's the type of place you move to when you're trying to get a stalker off your trail. I've never had a stalker. I've always been such a horrible person to date, most girls were happy to see me go. Apple Valley has a volunteer fire station, a gas station, and anything else you're gonna need to go to Colorado City, Arizona, or take a 40-minute drive up to St. George to get, because they've got nothing else around here unless you're into collecting rocks and sand. Then they have plenty of it. Maybe spotting a coyote here or there. That's all they do here. Finally, we have a place in Utah that has some crime. The overall crime rate in Apple Valley is 21% higher than the national average, which is shocking for Utah. Really, it's hard to find a place with some crime. Now, this is usually the time of a video where someone that's from like St. George or Salt Lake City tries to tell me that their town is dangerous because they're trying to gain some street cred in a YouTube comment section. I have news for you. Utah is not a crime-infested hellhole like you want to make us believe. So stop typing. Yeah, Apple Valley, it's in the middle of nowhere. Number 4, Benson, Utah. Benson has a population of fewer than 1,000 residents. For its size, this tiny town, they have an incredibly high crime rate. The total number of crimes year over year has increased by 202%. Not only that, the crime rate is 27% higher than the national average. Suck on that, Apple Valley, you soft. Most of these are property crime, but they can still be as devastating and dangerous as a violent crime. I saw a news report about a place in Texas where the reporter said property crimes can be just as dangerous as a violent crime. I don't get it. I mean, are people stealing brake pads off cars and that'd be dangerous? Have people stolen seat belts and replaced them with piano wire or something like that? What's going on that property crimes are dangerous? Has someone removed a front porch while the owner was sleeping and the owner's in a hurry in the morning and steps off and breaks his neck? What's going on here? Now, I'm sure they were talking about how if you get caught and the owner has a firearm and decides to administer a little justice himself. Maybe that's it, but I don't know. Anyway, Benson gets bad grades in everything but schools, oddly enough. They got good schools in Benson. Weird. Number 3, Vineyard, Utah. Vineyard is a place that just sounds like it would be expensive, doesn't it? Situated just outside of Orem with about 3,000 residents, it's a very expensive small town. Everything sucks here statistically, but crime and employment. They have jobs and they've got no criminals, so it can't be that bad, but it's just really, really expensive. What really kills this place is the cost of living. The overall cost of living here is 50% higher than the rest of the country, and some of the highest points are the housing. That tends to be about 176% higher than average, healthcare about 4% higher than average, and again, taxes about 125% higher than the national average. Now, can it really be that bad? They have a Booker's ice cream. I guess they make random people wear colonial hats when you sit down to eat your cone. Oh, look at this. The poor maintenance dude got roped into the same shenanigans. That sucks. But Vineyard isn't a terrible place to go, but it is extremely expensive, especially for what you're getting. Number 2, Corinne, Utah. Corinne is not a place for entertainment, or anything for that matter. The town is located along the Bear River just northeast of the Great Salt Lake. It is nicknamed the Gateway to the Golden Spike. In case you don't know, the Golden Spike is the point where they joined the rails for the first transcontinental railroad across the United States, connecting the Central Pacific Railroad. That all happened on May 10th, 1869. Here's a fun fact about that. The person that drove the spike was Leland Stanford, the founder of Stanford University. Anywho, Corinne takes great pride in this, probably because that's all they got. While the town does have its basics like a post office, fire department, a church, and a gas station, they don't have much else. I mean, they do have a Walmart distribution center right outside of town, but that's, probably where everyone works, and that's about it. Anything else, you gotta make the 45-minute drive to Logan for. The overall crime rate in Corinne is 34% higher than the national average. Corinne has less than 700 people, and when you got a high crime rate, the police, the first thing they do is find out where Jerry was last night, or, it's like usually tracked down to one person causing all the mayhem in the town. Seems like if you just get rid of the guy causing it, hey, Jerry, you need to leave town, all your problems are solved. Anyway, the poverty level in Corinne is 28% lower than the national average. That's because the Walmart center's right there. Everyone's got jobs. Not the best paying jobs, but they got jobs. No real cost of living problems here either, so that's good. And number 1, Halseta, Utah. Halseta or Halchita, whatever it is, made it on this list 2 years in a row. The 2018 version had them at number 2. Congratulations, you're number 1. You got worse, Halchita, Halseta, whatever. Halseta is not a place to go for jobs. The unemployment rate here is 6.5%. That's more than 3% higher than the average for the US. The median income here is only about $22,000 a year, which is $33,000 less than the average household. Life is rough here. The unemployment rate is so high and the median income is so low, it's no surprise that more than half the town's population lives in poverty. They have 270 residents and almost 3 times as many broken down cars. Honestly, look at this satellite image. It looks like someone built a town in a junkyard. They have no real jobs here. Maybe a bail bondsman or a lemon law lawyer stores all his clients' old cars here, but that's about it. There's nothing really. You gotta drive out of town for God knows how long just to go to work. Might have to go to Mexican Hat, and like I said last time, I guess when they named this town that, nobody knew how to say sombrero or something like that. So it's called Mexican Hat. That's the next town over. But yeah, Halseta, Halchita, Hall & Oates, whatever it is, it's number 1 this year on Utah's worst towns. Alright everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video, hope you got some information out, hope you know where not to go in Utah now. Some of them, like I said, it's hard to find really bad places in Utah. They're really nice. It's either really dirt poor or it's unnaturally expensive to live in some of these places. It's weird. Utah's a weird state. Anyway, don't forget all the links below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up. Everybody have a great day. Be nice to each other.